Into this video, we're going to discuss the inflation report tomorrow and to get you guys prepared as always. I'm also going to be sharing with y'all a setup that could produce a massive move tomorrow. Alright, y'all, let's dive into the charts right off the bat. We got the NASDAQ futures. And so far, the bears are in control. The bears are in control. The descending triangle is still there. What I thought was a trap ended up not being a trap, despite today's PPI results, right? The market liked the PPI results. It came out, we had a little spike, and then we had a chop in the first hour before the drop below this 21,000 level. 21,000 is a very critical level for the NASDAQ. And the fact that it closed below it right here is worrisome to me for tomorrow. The NASDAQ is looking bearish. The SPY also is looking bearish. It's all looking like a break and retest. And the break being on Monday, the retest being today, and the continuation being tomorrow. All right, now let's look at tomorrow's expectations for the CPI. Okay, so this is the CPI and how it's been trending throughout the last few months. Okay, now the expectations is 2.9%, which is not as aggressive as the PPI expectations. Remember, this is the no. Let's see. All right. So this is the PPI. And notice how you see that consensus, how it was increased by 0.6. The expectations was really high, which kind of like was a nice setup for the results being cooler than expected, meaning it was a nice setup for a positive reaction, at least for that morning, to give anybody who bought calls a chance to get out in the morning. Okay, but when we go back to the CPI, it's only a 0.2% uptick. So what I'm expecting for tomorrow and what I think is going to happen, since the daily charts are already looking bearish, I think the number is going to be hotter than expected. I'm thinking like 3% or maybe even 3.1%. And it's going to shock the market and we're going to see a massive drop down. That would take care of a few problems, especially on, like, it would take care of a small issue, especially on QQQ. And that small issue is right over here. Right there. The gap at 492 bucks. Okay? This looks like a break and retest, and the continuation should be tomorrow. Now, if it gaps down too low, meaning like if it drops all the way down overnight, if it drops all the way down to 492, a lot of the tech stocks are gonna be down bad anyways. But it's important that you don't chase short, right? Because in order for the gap to get filled, the price has to move up out the gates. So if we open up below 491, the opportunity to make money, if you're not in a position at all, it will be to the long side, just to take care of that gap on the left. All right, and that would actually set up for a nice big bounce going into the inauguration and going into the end of January. I think that's what I'm thinking. Okay, but for right now, yeah, literally all of the indices are bearish. The only indices that's not so bearish but is looking kind of sus is the Russell. All right, the Russell looks like this, and it has an ascending triangle intraday right here. But the problem is that it broke out in after hours, and the volume is trash. So I don't trust that this thing will make a bullish move. I could be wrong, all right? But with the way it's looking right now, I don't trust that it will. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Now, the stock or the setup that y'all should be keeping in your radar for tomorrow is Google. Now with Google, Google has a bear flag on the 4-hour, and Google looks like this, right? Like this. It broke down on Monday. It went all the way down to 187, and then bounced, had a little dead cat bounce, and then today it had a bearish structure intraday. As you can see, my drawings are already on here. It broke down at 1040, and then retested that level of resistance and closed it closed in quite a weak fashion. All right, which to me makes me believe that we could see some more downside. There is a giant gap at the bottom right here, the red box, at 175. If the Nasdaq dropped to 491, this thing is going to have a massive flush downward. Okay, so it's definitely worth keeping in your watch list. Again, if it opens up too low, like if it really drops to 175, the opportunity will be to the long side. Okay, that's my thoughts on this one. Now let's do an update. Yesterday I gave you guys one stock to keep on your radar for a long, and that stock was NVDA. All right, and NVDA did really well. Some people in the Discord made some money on it. Let me share with you guys. So I broke even because I woke up late. I woke up at 9 o'clock. All right, so yesterday I bought calls 5 minutes before the market opened. The price target was on there right above 136, that little circle right there. The goal was to wake up on time, right? And then immediately sell half out the gates. And then if it starts to roll over, sell everything. That was the goal. But you can see right here at 9:10, that's when I sold, and I had to break even on my contracts that I bought right here, right? So this is my entry, and then this is the ideal exit that I would take. Some people in the Discord made some money on NVDA. They know how. For those of you who've been in the Discord, you know exactly how I trade. If the stock jumps up overnight in our favor, and the stock and the contracts are all big, I'm selling half out the gates. I don't wait. All right. In this situation, I wasn't conscious to make that decision. I was asleep. Okay. But people made some money on it. This thing right here didn't give an indication to chase out the gates for the move up to 140. The first candle was red. That's the first thing. All right. The next thing is it failed to break above the pre-market high anyways. All right. So we have a first red candle. We don't have a big green candle with huge volume that looks like this, that ticks out this high, right? So there's no reason to chase this thing long. So hopefully none of y'all chase this thing out the gates. Now, the main question is this thing going to bounce? If what I said about the CPI report comes to pass and we get something like 3.1%, we could see this thing dump all the way down here towards 120. And I say that because when you look at the weekly, it looks like that. First and foremost, that was accidental, but at least y'all can see the big picture here. This is how the weekly chart is looking. Okay, in the perfect scenario where the bulls win and we see, let's say, the inflation report actually tick down to like 2.5%, we could see this thing form a bullish engulfing candle and take out the previous high all overnight. You could see that. I don't think it's gonna happen. Highly doubt it, especially with the way the weekly chart is looking, and also because when you look at the daily chart, it's more rational for me to expect a pullback down to here, to 119. All right, things all that way, everything in the market would just be perfectly aligned for the rally that comes after the inauguration. All right, so that's my thinking about it. That's how I'm thinking about it. Now let's talk about one more stock. Yeah, we got time. The next one that we're gonna look at is Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo has earnings tomorrow morning, but Wells Fargo has been on a massive uptrend, and I think it needs to cool down just a little bit. All right, and if again inflation report is hotter than expected, we could see this thing drop all the way down to $65. If it drops down to $65, then watch it for the bounce off of previous levels of resistance, which dates from way back here in 2018. All right, that's my thoughts on all of these stocks, and that is the end of the video. Do not forget to annihilate the like button. As always, I make these videos from Sunday to Thursday at exactly 8 p.m. Central Time. All right, so definitely click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on future uploads. To be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, along with the contracts that I buy, and most importantly, the reason why I take the trades that I take to begin with. That way you get to learn along the way. You can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. Don't forget to follow my social media at Paul and Goodman at Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. And lastly, to get some free stocks with Webull, you can use the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in tomorrow night's video.